Last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye. So you're not from around here?
It's hard to explain. I think I had a life here. I see flashes, but I can't tell if it's real.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. We got a whole bunch of new Captain Marvel to break down. They dropped a new promo for her special comic book armor. Ben Mendelsohn, who plays Talos, the Skrull leader, did a big preview for the Skrull storyline and his character. And Marvel just released a really special feature that Kevin Feige did about his final meeting with Stan Lee that I'll talk about at the end of the video just because it's really touching. If you're new to the channel, we're also doing an IMAX ticket giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a Marvel-related comment on the video. So just starting with her comic book armor, we get much more accurate, up-to-date designs for what it's going to look like towards the end of the film. This is obviously just a modification of her Kree green Star Force uniform, although technically all the people in the Kree military wear green uniforms like this. They probably just embellished this a little bit to make it quote-unquote Star Force because there's a giant star in the middle of her chest there. But as you'll see with the Skrull storyline and the whole idea that they're being misled about what's really going on, Skrulls masquerading, lying to Nick Fury about what's going on. Same thing happening with Captain Marvel in her storyline. Once she reasserts her true identity, she makes this costume for herself. So that's why you see it towards the end of the trailer, because it's happening towards the end of the movie after she found out about all the shit that they've been trying to pull on her. This promo is a much better example of what she looks like in her full armor with the helmet activated. And it also gives you a much better look at what she looks like with the mohawk. People weren't really sure how they were going to handle that. It could have been silly if they did it the wrong way, but I think the way they explain it during the trailer is actually pretty ingenious. So you see them flying through space when she's still a member of Star Force. They're on some mission during the movie, and you can see the mohawk sort of flipping around after she activates her helmet. And it's the exact same way that Black Panther's helmet works. Iron Man's too, but they did a better job of actually explaining it during the Black Panther movie when Shuri is giving T'Challa his brand new costume.
Exhibit A.
My design.
Old tech.
Old.
Functional, but old. Hey, people are shooting at me. Wait, let me put on my helmet.
Enough. This one.
I'll tell it to go on. Ooh! The entire suit sits within the teeth of the necklace.
So during that scene, she explains to him that the armor itself is coded to him with a neural interface, so all he has to do is think, helmet on, and the helmet will engage. It's the same deal with Captain Marvel's armor, albeit with a Kree version of that technology. So obviously they're a very advanced spacefaring race. They do not have vibranium. So I still think that Black Panther could probably make a better version of this costume for her, but she has technology that's way more advanced than what we have on planet Earth, save for people like Black Panther, Iron Man, and probably Thor. Thor only makes it seem like he's really dumb. He actually does understand how Asgardian technology works, but he's not an engineer, so he could probably fix some of their technology. But if Rocket wanted a really cool Asgardian weapon, then he would just take him back to Eitri and have Eitri make something for him. So between everyone's technology and their relative natural power levels, it all kind of balances out a little bit, with Captain Marvel being on the more powerful end of the spectrum, up there with Thor with Stormbreaker. The closest we see her getting to binary form is right towards the end of the trailer, and even that probably isn't full binary form. I think they're going to save a little something for Avengers 4. There have been a lot of reports about shots of her showing up in the trailer punching Thanos just to show how powerful she is. Just because we haven't got her movie yet, I'm not expecting a ton of her in that first Avengers teaser trailer. Maybe just a logo shot or something from her costume to let you know that she's in the film. Because weirdly enough, I still see a lot of questions on videos that I'll post asking whether or not she's in the movie. And like, yes, of course, Captain Marvel is a big part of Avengers 4. Moving on to Ben Mendelsohn's Skrull preview though. So his character, Talos, is the leader of their little elite squad that's trying to infiltrate Earth. So there's a couple different plots going on during the movie. The A plot is the Skrulls infiltrating Earth. The B plot is Captain Marvel rediscovering who she is, depending on how you look at it. Some people will view that more as the main story, but technically the whole premise of the film is that there are Skrulls on planet Earth, and that's the thing that brings her back and how she starts to rediscover who she is, because she's often Star Force at the beginning of the movie. The Skrull story is more of a meta fake-out plot about a fake plot. He's Nick Fury's supervisor in S.H.I.E.L.D. circa 1995, mid-90s, but it's not like he went up through the ranks at S.H.I.E.L.D. He just infiltrated them by taking down Nick Fury's pre-existing supervisor that looked like Ben Mendelsohn. He says one of the beauties of his character is that he gets to have scenes with everyone, and obviously, because he can masquerade as anyone, it's not just Ben Mendelsohn that Talos will be looking like. People have been seeing all those shots of young Coulson saying, it's so great to see Clark Gregg back in the movies, but as cool as that is, double fake out, wouldn't it also be cool to see him be a Skrull for at least a little while during the film? So you wind up with a situation where Clark Gregg plays a couple different versions of himself. You can do the same thing with Nick Fury too, although most of the film is from his perspective and from Captain Marvel's perspective. The way they describe this version of Nick Fury is that he's a 40-something who's just getting ready to retire to take a normal job, like he's getting tired of it. He has that voiceover during the trailer. Truth be told, I was getting ready to hang it all up until you showed up on my door. So even though the Skrull Empire does have grand designs to take over planet Earth, save for the 3 Infinity Stones that are currently there as of the mid-1990s, you have the Space Stone and the Tesseract that S.H.I.E.L.D. already has possession of as of the events of this film. You have the Aether, which is still sort of buried between dimensions within the Earth. Then you have the Eye of Agamotto, the Time Stone, which is at the Sanctum. So you just have to remember that even though Infinity Stones aren't a big part of the plot during this movie, they're still there. It's still a very big deal in the grand scheme of things. There'll probably be some Easter egg scene referencing all that stuff because Nick Fury is still relatively mid-level. He probably doesn't learn that S.H.I.E.L.D. has the Tesseract until he becomes director much later in the timeline. But while all this Captain Marvel stuff is going on, they still have their dark energy research going on in the background. They've been researching all that stuff at the base that they blow up at the beginning of the Avengers movie for a long time. This was actually built relatively soon after Howard Stark died, but Howard Stark himself pioneered a lot of the early research on the Tesseract. The beauty of Talos infiltrating S.H.I.E.L.D., though, is that he can actually use them against Captain Marvel. All he has to do is tell his underling, Nick Fury, and Baby Coulson, who's fresh off the boat like a brand new red shirt S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, that there's a dangerous space alien that's coming to Earth's orbit that means to do us harm. Bring her in, capture her, so we can interrogate her, obviously as a ruse, so that he, Talos, and the other Skrulls can interrogate her and find out how to take down the Kree Star Force that are after them. They did shoot a Stan Lee cameo for the movie. I have no idea what it's going to be. He shot cameos for the 3 upcoming big live-action Marvel movies. I'm expecting him to get a cameo during Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse as well, too, in some animated form. And Feige also joked that when they were on set working on movies, that he would always try to add more lines. He would always joke, but not really joke, about wanting more lines, although he understood why we couldn't. The Ant-Man and the Wasp actually does have a pretty long reel of him trying a bunch of different takes of that cameo. This is a clip from that.
No, my sandwich was in there. Well, at least now I'll be able to park in San Francisco. Oh, man, I just stole this car.
So it's just a really touching remembrance from Kevin Feige of his final interaction with Stan Lee. It's always fun to hear those stories just because Stan Lee is so amazing in all of them. But what'll happen is there's a bunch of Marvel stuff coming up. I know everybody wants to know when the Avengers 4 trailer is going to drop. If I hear any rumors about it, I will totally do a video, no worries. Click here to watch Hugh Jackman talk about Deadpool in Avengers crossover, and click here for my non-spoilery review of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.